So, guys, there is drama. Now, we know we love Vanderpump Rules, right? Okay. Well, Jason and I met at Pump Restaurant. Jason worked at Pump Restaurant. I got hired for 3 hours at Pump Restaurant before I got fired after 3 hours, which we can talk about on the members only tonight. But we originally spoke about this when there was hearsay after a realtor posted on their Instagram page that Pump Restaurant was going to be up for grabs when it came to the lease, right? Well, we didn't know. Is this true? Is it not true? Why would this realtor be posting this? And then the realtor had like 4 posts, so I didn't necessarily know if I trusted that. So Jason and I just made a few phone calls and we asked some people who are still working at Pump, and they gave us as much as they possibly could without getting anyone in trouble, which is when we knew they are absolutely closing. Well, when they decided, hey, listen, we're going to close our doors, they put out this statement. It's with heavy hearts that we announce that the lease at Pump Restaurant is expiring and we will be closing its doors on July 5th. After 10 years of beautiful evenings under our olive trees as a family, we are looking to the future of the Vanderpump establishment and we'll be opening at least 2 more restaurants with Caesars Entertainment in the coming year. While we have loved our time operating Pump, to take on another 10-year lease with a huge increase in rent by the landlords is not something that we are ready to commit to. After successfully running 37 plus establishments for many years, this type of rent is untenable. We will be open throughout Pride Month in West Hollywood to support the local community with one last hurrah, and we look forward to welcoming you all to Tom Tom and Sir in the months following. Thank you for the past decade of support. We have loved our staff, our patrons, and our time together. Best, the Pump family.
Wow. I mean, where do you start here? Because
it's depressing.
It's depressing. I mean, especially for us, because out of the 10 years Pump was open, I ran it for 5. So it was, and we were there at the best time, pre-pandemic and everything like that. But listen, there were hints and there were signs, they got rid of their events planner. They had no more security. So that they're kind of winding down for what's going to be, a closing. So it is unfortunate. We have a lot of history there. But Pump was one of those restaurants in the community that you never really saw on TV too much. I mean, you saw it on Beverly Hills, but it wasn't focused on like Sir is on Vanderpump Rules. It was more of a community spot. It was definitely a local spot. If you were in West Hollywood, we had tons of locals and regulars, and that was kind of special at Pump.
Yes. Shady Millennial, didn't the landlord? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The landlord came back and said, that is not true. Actually, I don't know if Jason knows this, but the landlord, you do?
Yeah.
So the landlord clapped back at Lisa and Ken's statement saying, this is not true. We did not up the rent. Actually, we did nothing but be there for them, especially during the trying times during the pandemic. And we even gave them some rent relief. We have not upped the rent. We don't know what they're talking about. What the f*** is this? But we talked about this as well. This was sort of the perfect out for Lisa and Ken, who have their good names in the restaurant business. They have never had, as far as we know, a failing restaurant. So if the restaurant looks like it might have gone through its longevity, its lifespan of what it was when it was popping, and you don't want to watch it phase out. It's almost like when you cap like a series of movies after like 3 and you're like, no more, because then it's just going to get bad. So let's keep it while it's good. It's like they get to walk away and say it's a lease, and the issue was with the landlord. And then everyone just remembers a very successful restaurant, not the restaurant that ended up failing and closing.
I don't know why the landlord would need to come out and say that anyways. They just need to worry about renting that spot, which they shouldn't have a problem doing since it is one of the best locations in West Hollywood. But with the accumulation of everything that they have going on with under their own Vanderpump umbrella, you have Sir still running. Honestly, I thought that would have phased out a long time ago. I think Vanderpump Rules is hanging that on by a string. Tom Tom is still very successful. It kind of gives you a different take on their restaurants and kind of preempts all of the stuff they did in Vegas. But now with 2 other places opening in Vegas, very successful, I think they're looking forward instead of looking backwards. And to take another 10-year lease, no matter what the price was, 10 years is a long time. Restaurants don't last 10 years, especially in Los Angeles.
I think the landlord also said that they weren't requesting a long lease either.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
heard otherwise, but anyway, I don't know. They're both going to say what they want to say, right? It's like the same way you couldn't come up with a deal, right? The thing is Pump wasn't losing money. It might have been at the end, but when we were there, Pump was paying for Villa Blanca to stay open at one point. So, it's like it wasn't bad, but
Yeah. Vicky Harnish said, then why fib, Adam? Meaning, like, why would they be fibbing about the... Well, because, like I said, Vicky, I believe the reason that Lisa and Ken would put out the statement that they did is because then it's just a matter of, you know what, unfortunately, we couldn't come to an agreement, but we still had a very successful restaurant with all of these great memories. And that's how the public is left with their idea of what Pump was, which was a very busy, successful staple in West Hollywood at the time. And then they get to kind of wash their hands from that and move
say
on.
bye. Here's the thing is everyone needs to save face right now, right? Lisa and Ken don't want to look like they failed at the restaurant, and the landlords don't want to look like they're hard to work with because they need to put somebody in there. So they're both they're playing press right now. That's what it is. Veronica, I'm going to have to agree with you on this. I see something. Sometimes I see the future and I have intuition about this stuff. Ask some of my followers on Anchor Watch, which you can watch tomorrow night. I really do feel like we might see that on a whole different level. However, Caesars Entertainment might have stipulations on, who can film and stuff, because Caesars is about making money and not a TV show. So we'll see. I'm curious.
I mean, but they have let the cameras in before numerous times.
Yes,
and also it's Vegas. It's like Showtime, baby. So
yes, 100%.
Ebony Dick said, question, do you think Lisa Vanderpump will move her management team to Vegas to train like she did other restaurants? Just to cue you in, Ebony, this is a great question. The management team is Pandora. Pandora goes to these restaurants, her daughter, who has been a busser, a dishwasher, a server, a bartender, a host, every position you can imagine in the restaurant. And she goes, and for the first 2 weeks to the first 2 months, you are absolutely terrified of her. You don't want to cross paths with her, and you better not mess up, or else that is your job. But she does that to sort of condition everyone to really know their menu, provide the best possible service, and be on top of their A game, because you're a representation of them and their businesses. So the reason that she does it, it makes sense. It's just scary to go through the process, because when you're the one being trained, you're like, oh shit.
Well, there's also, Vegas is very different. So no one from LA will go to Vegas and train over there, because Caesars hires their own, they have their own HR, they have their own way of doing things. That's the agreement they have set up. So yes, Lisa and Ken will probably have a say in who manages it, who runs it, but they won't be hiring staff.
Right. Right. Speaking of which, guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about this, because this came out, and I know that I posted a video before we came on here, but since we're talking about Vanderpump Rules, we know that there was the finale trailer that was allegedly leaked, which we're going to get into in a second. But there have been some moments of chatter, which this one person particularly, I did not think that this would come from, but Billy Lee and Tom Sandoval.